Hello, my fellow scientists. Welcome back to another episode of Science is Everywhere, the home edition. We are finishing up our mini-series this week with Dr. Karen Tancaun. Thank you again for being with us.
Of course.
And you have someone else with you. Who is that?
This is Ahsoka. She's a little puppy. She's a little shy right now.
Oh, hi, Ahsoka.
Yeah, we're outside of the hospital hanging out. It's a nice warm day. So
Yeah, it's starting to warm up for sure.
Yeah.
So Dr. Tancaun has been kind enough to give us a tour today. So this would be something that you would see, folks, if you came to check in and bring your pet for a checkup to make sure that they're well, or if they're not feeling well, to check things out. So Doctor, I will turn it over to you, and thank you again for your time.
Okay, so we're going to turn the camera around, and I will show you. There's our parking lot. There's the front of the hospital. There's our sign. And then there's a lot of signs up front because we're in the shelter in place. So normally the owner would have to call that number right there. And we would pick up the pet outside so that the owners don't come in to avoid contact. And as you can see, I was wearing a mask as well. So we'll go ahead and move inside. And then I'll show you what our lobby looks like. It's a little modified. Here in Echo. All right, and here's Whitney and Darlene. Hi. Yeah, and as you can see, we've kind of blockaded the front desk because of the shelter in place to have social distancing, I should say. Yeah, it's all taped off, but normally they come here and check in with Darlene and Whitney, and then there is a area over here for kids to keep them busy.
Oh, cool. Tell us about that spot real quick.
So you got some magnets and some toys down here, and it's next to some pet foods as well.
And wait, to go back, I see lab coats there as well?
Yep, they can play dress up.
I love it.
Yeah. And so we'll go over here. And we do have a little coffee station as well for the adult clients. And then there's another exam room, and this is the one we're going to situate ourselves in.
Okay.
So let me turn it around. There we go. And I'm going to just place it right here so you can kind of see. Close the door. So that's our little exam station right there. There. Here we are. There's Ahsoka. Wow. Say hi.
So really fast, while we have Ahsoka with us for just a second, what kind of dog is she?
We don't know yet. We actually have a DNA test pending right now. We think she's got Chihuahua, maybe Corgi. She's got a curled tail. But as you know, she's named after a Star Wars character. And as of this filming, it is May 4th, so it is Star Wars Day. So we thought it'd be fun. And then let me just turn that around so we can see. So yeah, so I'll show you, this is our exam table. So this is where we would situate the pet and examine it. And then we have a computer, so we type all the exam findings on here. So there's no paper, which is really nice. And then we have this nice ophthalmoscope, kind of similar to what your eye doctor would use.
So can you explain that really fast?
Yeah, so you can.
For folks who haven't seen it before, I know we're a little far away.
Yeah. So right
there we go.
So you can look at the retina and the cornea a little bit better with this one. So it's kind of a magnifying glass for the eye.
And it looks like it has a little light on it, yeah?
Yep. I don't know if you can see it flashing.
Yeah, so that helps you see a little bit better into that.
So, and then on the same unit, we have something called an otoscope, which can look in the ear.
Oh,
and
wow.
As well. And you can see it's a bit longer because some dogs' ear canals are way longer than a human being's.
So what kind of breed would use something of that magnitude?
Fairly large breeds, although some small dogs also have long ear canals. We just don't insert it all the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then also we'll use this to look up noses. So for instance, this time of year is called foxtail season, and they can get it up their nose. In fact, I had one today that had a foxtail up their nose, and we actually, under anesthesia, inserted it in. We had a tool called alligator forceps to pull out the foxtail. So it is kind of a multitasker.
So for folks who don't know, what is anesthesia?
Anesthesia is where you give medication to make the animal sleep. So we can do surgeries, we can do procedures that they may not like. So yeah, but yeah, so it's a great tool, and it's also got a little magnifying. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little magnifying glass there. So yeah, Ahsoka's like, why aren't you paying attention to me? She's over there.
I say, would she be better on the table, or is that not safe there?
Let me see. Okay, Missy, come here. There she is. I think she just likes being held.
Yeah. Like, if you're going to bring me in here, you might as well pay attention to me.
Exactly. So this is also nice because if we have a big dog in the room and we don't need this table, we can lift it up and get it out of the way. So it's great. But yeah, and then we have, I'll turn it around to show you. We have some educational material for the clients and brochures, things like that. So yeah, so this is one of our nicer exam rooms. Even got a mirror in case you want to. Yeah, and this is kind of like, sorry, I hope I'm not making anyone dizzy.
And kind of give a 360 view.
Yeah.
So what other tools do you have there? I know you have general things. We're in an area where, you know, you have folks check in.
Yeah, they're general things. We have a sharps container for the syringes and needles that we, you know, that need to discard safely. In here are thermometer.
Oh yeah, we're getting familiar with those nowadays. Yep.
Yeah. No, yeah. You know, most patients don't really like that aspect, but they get used to it. But yeah, so that's, you know, generally we use the exam room to educate clients after we examine them. And we try to be interactive. We try to, you know, point things out like, hey, you know, your dog's teeth look great, see? So we try to make it as interactive as possible. And it gives us time to bond with the pet. Look at her, she's snuggling.
Oh, there we go.
So this is the best part of the job. And the shelter in place has made it a little difficult because we don't really have the opportunity to do this anymore since we're being more curbside. You know, let's take the pet, we'll examine it, we'll call you with our findings and recommendations. So I'm kind of missing the interaction with the client and the pet, not just examining the pet, because that's the fun part of the job, as we discussed.
Yeah. So typically, outside of circumstances that we're dealing with now, how would folks usually check in?
Yeah, so they would check in with Darlene and Whitney up front. It's all, again, computerized. Everything's signed on a pin pad. So, and then they come in here, and then I come in here with a nurse and myself. And so the nurse can help me, you know, if needed, hold the pet while I examine it. And they also help with the education portion. They're very, you know, when I have to just do medical stuff, it's nice because the nurses know a lot of things like training, nutrition, educating the clients on how to take care of their puppy and make them, or kitten, or make them live as long as possible. So my nurses are just very essential to my job because otherwise I wouldn't be able to do as much as I could as a veterinarian. So she's falling asleep.
It's afternoon nap time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what procedures or things do you do specifically in that area? Because I know each part of the hospital has kind of a different role.
Sure. So the majority of things we do in here are just vaccines, deworming. If we need to do any more, I don't know, extensive procedures like cleaning wounds, stitching pets up, there, you know, we take them in the back room. And it's pretty extensive. We even have an x-ray room. We have a surgery suite.
Wow.
Yeah. And we have the main treatment area. We do dental cleanings the same way your dentist would do. So it's a pretty full service, hospital. We always joke in the veterinary field that we're all not just doctors, but we're anesthesiologists, dentists, psychologists sometimes, and the pets need behavioral consultations. So it's fun. I think I'd get bored if I just had to focus on one thing.
Yeah, you never are wanting for things to learn or things to do.
No, not at all.
So as we talked a lot about how things with humans, you have a lot of similarities, but you have them with animals. So if I was, going to see my doctor, I would go in, check in like they would do with your folks at front. And then they would come into a general room with their doctor, just like the pet would come into the room that you're in right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's very similar. And actually we try to model it that way. So when clients do come in, it will be familiar to them. It's not a foreign thing, except we're, dealing with their fur children instead of their real children.
The fur babies, so, that counts?
The fur babies. Yeah. So here, snuggle.
There you go, sweetheart.
So, yeah, I think she's ready for a nap. She's just a puppy. So yeah.
Okay, so can you think of any good stories that you've had today in these rooms other than the foxtail one? That's quite something.
The foxtail was awesome. Yeah, that was satisfying. Today, gosh, we cleaned a couple of dogs' teeth today. We spayed and neutered two separate surgeries. Spayed a dog and neutered a dog today. So it's a pretty busy day, and it's now finally starting to get a little chill. It's coming to the snuggle end of the day. Yeah, so we get to play with Ahsoka. Ahsoka's actually one of my nurse's dogs. Yeah, so everybody's just loving on her.
Well, she's everybody's baby.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, she's ready for a nap. Oh.
No more pictures, please.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you for your time. Again, fitting us into your very busy day.
Yes. No problem. My pleasure.
And yeah, so hopefully you'll get to see some of our folks up there in Concord. I'm sure they'd love to see you.
Oh yeah, I'd love it.
All right.
Hopefully we get to see them in the exam room this time.
Yeah. We're moving towards that.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you again, and we will see you later too, Ahsoka. Nap time.
Nap time.
All right. Thank you for joining everybody for Science is Everywhere, the home edition. And again, this finishes up our mini series for now. We're still working on some other things. We're always working on things, and we will definitely announce those on social media when it is good to go. So thank you again for your time, and enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching our virtual Purple Museums broadcast. If you're enjoying this content, please consider making a donation to support our efforts. Our broadcasts are every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Stay in the loop by joining our email list by visiting www.cdm.org. Sign up today.